For thousands of years, wine has been way more than just a drink. I mean, it's been at the center of culture, of celebration, but for millions of people, what's in their glass is also a matter of faith, and it's governed by some really ancient, sacred rules. Today, we're going to uncork the fascinating and very different worlds of kosher and halal wine.
You know, this quote just nails it. Wine isn't simply fermented grape juice. It's a symbol, it's a sacrament, and it's woven into the very fabric of human history. From the rituals of ancient gods all the way to our modern dinner tables, its story is totally intertwined with our own.
But here's the twist. What if that bottle of wine had to meet, let's say, divine standards? For observant Jews and Muslims, the journey from the grape to the glass is guided by a rule book that's literally thousands of years old. And believe me, that changes everything.
So to really get a handle on these rules, we first have to look at the very different roles that wine plays across major faiths. And it's a huge spectrum, right? It goes all the way from sacred celebration to total absolute prohibition.
And you can see a really stark contrast right here. In ancient cultures, wine was often seen as a gift from the gods. In Judaism, it's absolutely essential for sanctifying the Sabbath with the Kiddush blessing. For Christians, it takes on this incredibly sacred, sacramental role. But then, in Islam, any alcohol, or khamr, is strictly forbidden. This one fundamental difference is the key to everything else we're going to talk about.
So, okay, let's start with the path to kosher. This is a process that's not really defined by flavor or terroir, but by something much, much deeper. We're talking about ritual purity. The word kosher, it literally means fit or appropriate. And these dietary laws, which are known as kashrut, come directly from the Torah. Now, for wine, these laws are especially strict, and that's because of its central role in Jewish rituals and its historical use in, well, pagan ceremonies. The process itself is just incredibly meticulous. First, everything is under the watchful eye of a rabbinic supervisor, called a mashgiach. Second, and this is absolutely critical, from the moment the grapes are crushed, only Sabbath-observant Jews can touch the wine or the equipment. Third, every single ingredient, down to the yeasts and clarifying agents, has to be certified kosher. And finally, all the equipment has to be exclusively for kosher use or go through a ritual purification called koshering.
Now, you might see this word, mevashal, on a kosher wine label. And it's a fascinating solution to a really practical problem. It basically means the wine has been flash pasteurized. So why do that? Well, once a kosher wine is mevashal, it can be opened and served by anyone, like a waiter in a restaurant, without losing its kosher status. It's kind of like a bridge between ancient law and our modern world.
Okay, now we're going to turn to the halal challenge, where the rules are completely different. The focus here isn't on who handles the wine, but on an absolute total prohibition of alcohol. This is really a modern technological quest to get to 0.0%.
Kind of like kosher, halal means permissible under Islamic law. But when it comes to drinks, the rule is unambiguous, and it comes right from the Quran. Any intoxicating substance is forbidden, and that means there can be zero alcohol, period.
So, you're probably asking, how do you even create a wine with no alcohol? Well, it's a marvel of modern technology. Most of the time, you actually start by making real, conventional alcoholic wine to develop all those complex flavors and aromas we love. Then, you use some really sophisticated tech to carefully remove all the alcohol. And finally, the whole product is certified by a halal authority to guarantee it's truly 0.0% alcohol.
The technology here is pretty wild. See, the biggest challenge is that alcohol carries a ton of flavor and aroma. If you just boil it off, you'd ruin the wine. So producers use these advanced methods like vacuum distillation, which lowers the pressure so alcohol evaporates at a really cool temperature, protecting those delicate aromas. Another way is reverse osmosis, which uses this superfine membrane to filter out alcohol molecules. Both are designed to solve the same problem. Get rid of the alcohol, but leave the soul of the wine behind.
So there you have it. Two ancient faiths, both with profound rules about wine, but they lead to completely different products. Let's just put them side by side to really see the definitive difference.
This table makes it crystal clear. The biggest, most fundamental difference? Alcohol. Kosher wine is alcoholic wine. Halal wine, on the other hand, absolutely is not. And this all stems from their core principles, right? Kosher is all about ritual purity, which is achieved through human supervision and handling. Halal is all about avoiding intoxicants, and that requires some serious technological intervention. Their goals are different too. One is to make a wine fit for a sacred ritual. The other is to create a beverage that's permissible for everyday life.
Of course, these aren't just religious concepts, they're thriving commercial products. So how do these ancient traditions actually fit into the modern global marketplace?
When you look at kosher wine, a few key players really dominate the scene. Israel, naturally, has a deep, deep history of winemaking tied to its culture. The USA is a massive market, driven by one of the world's largest Jewish populations. And then you have France, a pillar of global wine culture, now producing prestigious kosher versions of everything from Bordeaux to Champagne.
But, making these wines isn't simple. The complex certifications, the specialized labor, the advanced tech, it all adds to the cost. And trying to maintain the authentic taste of wine after you strip out its alcohol, that's a constant technical battle. And yet, the opportunities are massive. These are rapidly growing markets for people who want drinks that align with their faith, and all that demand is driving some incredible innovation in beverage tech.
So, what's the big takeaway here? We have one tradition, kosher, that relies on human touch to preserve an ancient purity, and another, halal, that embraces modern technology to stick to a sacred prohibition. Both show us how faith continues to shape what we drink in really profound ways. And it leaves us with one final question. As tradition continues to meet technology, what is the future of faith in a bottle?